could see kissing the stranger the day after, but like the same night you meet them, maybe I should just stop being judgmental. So I've been making plans to travel this year, and it's interesting because there are so many other places that I want to go, but for some reason South Korea just keeps screaming out to me. There's just something about being there that I really, really enjoy, and I've decided that I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go back because I already went to South Korea recently, but this strong desire to choose South Korea out of all the other possible countries really made me think about making some videos about my good times and my bad times there, like overall. So that's what we finna do. We finna make some videos. I'm probably gonna end up making 2 videos about my good experiences and 2 videos about my bad experiences. The bad I could probably fit in one, but the good, there are just so many great, heavy, emotional, happy experiences that have happened to me in South Korea. Mind you, there are some things that are like, but we'll get there, we'll get there. This is gonna be the first video about my very good experiences that I've had there. Mostly we're gonna be talking about Seoul, Hongdae, and Daegu. Also, if you are a person looking for like visual kei content, I'm in the process of editing stuff, okay? I got some things coming. Today we're gonna be talking about travel. The first thing we're gonna talk about is my very first date that I had in South Korea. This was about before COVID happened. It was very, very, how do you say? It was a great experience for me. I know there are a lot of people who have negative experiences dating in South Korea, but for me, it really left an impression on me to the point where when I left the country, I was like, shoot, do I even want to date anymore in America? Like, well, in the US. Let me not say the entirety of America, but there's such a huge difference in how you were treated in South Korea as far as non-serious dating versus here where I am. I'm in the US. There are some good differences and bad differences. I'm just going to say the bad since I'm not going to be talking about the bad any further. You can get ghosted pretty fast, like ruthlessly ghosted. That's something that's a little more cutthroat in South Korea, in my opinion, compared to here. But as far as dating experiences, if you're dating for fun, dating in South Korea can be a lot of fun. So I'm going to get started about my date. The guy's name was Mean. I don't know how I want to start this. I'm going to start it off with my flaws, okay? I came to South Korea and I loved clubbing. I loved dancing. It was the most fun I'd ever had, and the clubs were closing at like 6. My very first time being in Seoul, we were staying in Hongdae. So we were hitting up all the Hongdae clubs. My impression of the things that I saw in these clubs was very judgmental. The ferocity at which people would make out in front of other people was a lot to me. It was overwhelmingly like, what are you doing? Oh my God. And I was definitely set on being somebody who would never ever make out with somebody in front of a whole bunch of strangers. That's who I thought I was gonna be. I thought I was gonna be that girl who would never do such a thing. Turns out I ended up making out with a dude in the club while I was dancing at an electronic club, living my best life. I was having such a good time. It was like my 3rd night there. This guy came up behind me and he started dancing with me. And you know, you got to do the look back, okay? You can't just be dancing with anybody. So I looked back and I saw his face and I was just like, there are a lot of handsome guys in South Korea, but they're handsome in a way where it's not particularly attractive to me. But this guy looked like he was made for my specific taste. He had the monolids. He had a big nose and big lips, which is my thing. I love big lips and I love big noses. Big noses more than anything else. If you got a big nose, I just love big noses. He had a really nice face and he could speak English. He was just like, hi, my name is Mean. What is your name? Not only that, he could dance. He could actually match the beat. I'm not even a good dancer, guys. I go to electronic clubs and white girl dance, but it's to the beat. That's important. It's to the beat. I can, move my hips a little bit, but he was matching the beat. And he was dancing with me and he was doing such a good job. There were some other dudes who had previously tried to dance with me and I'd be like, you're moving in a way that doesn't match the beat while I'm matching the beat and you pressed up against me. We cannot continue this. But he came up behind me and he was able to match every single beat. And when I tell you, I was so like mesmerized by him. Could speak English really well, had a very beautiful accent, had a great face in my opinion. And he was actually with another friend. His friend was having a a breakup, and he took his friend to the club and he saw me dancing and he decided to join me. And not many other people in the club were dancing. So I guess he just got up and was like, hey, I'm about to dance with this girl. So we're dancing and stuff, right? And the whole club is watching us and we're just having the time of our lives. And he does lean into me and try to kiss me, and I do kiss him back. I do, guys. I'm sorry. I was young. I was like, ooh, he looked good and he can dance and he speaks English. Like, y'all don't understand, especially the speaking English part. Like, I don't like going on dates with people I can't communicate with because I'm a big talker. So there was a whole bunch of talking that came before this. But next thing I knew, I'm making out with some guy in the club that I just met. So the whole judgment thing in my head is going, look at you, Savette. Look at you, you a hypocrite. You shouldn't have been judging all of those girls, okay? Once you find somebody you're attracted to, you fold pretty quickly, huh? I changed my way of thinking and was like, okay, sometimes when people are caught up and they find somebody they really like, maybe they might actually kiss that person. And I couldn't blame it on liquor because I was sober. I actually don't like to dance while intoxicated, while drinking. I'll drink to socialize, and then after that, I'll continue dancing with like no further alcohol. I actually like dancing sober. So we sit down and we take a break from dancing and we start talking. We were having a really good conversation and he decided to go outside the club to get some fresh air. You know, you got the club, the body heat. I'm sweating because I've been dancing and he's sweating because he's been dancing. So we go out the club. I try to take my phone from my little bag to text my friends that I'm leaving the club. I wanted to make sure to let them know because I had went to that club by myself. Nobody else wanted to go to the electronic club. Savette likes the electronic clubs. All the people that I was with wanted to go to the hip hop clubs. And I was like, I cannot go into another hip hop club. I can't. We went to like 5 and I was like, bruh. So I was there alone. I wanted to communicate with them, put my hand in my purse to find my phone, and my phone is gone. I'm just like, and he's like, what? Are you okay? I told him my phone was missing. He was like, well, first, let's go get you some water. So he took me to this mart to go get some water, and he got the both of us some water. And he was like, okay, so drink some water first. I'm like so nervous and so worried. And he goes up to the security guards and starts talking to the security guards in Korean. The way the security guards actually try to help, like, you know, you hear some stories where the security guards are completely useless. They don't want to be bothered with you. No, these guys were very, very helpful, and they started calling the people that were inside the club. Me and Mean go back into the club. We start looking ourselves while the security guards are kind of like talking with staff. I go back to the area where I'm dancing and I'm just like looking on the floor. Mean is talking to a lot of the people that were in our area when we were dancing. Suddenly this guy appears. He comes up to me and he takes my phone. He can't speak much English, but he like shows it to me. He was like, is this what you're looking for? And I was just like, oh my God, I was so excited. I hugged that man and he looked so startled. I was like, oh my God, my phone. And I literally embraced him and he was like, and I was like, thank you so much. And he smiled and said something in Korean. Mean was like, you know, patted his shoulder and started talking to him in Korean. They had like a little exchange and I was just so happy. Mean went to go let the security people and staff know that I had found my phone, and then we ended up coming outside the club, finding a place to sit and talk. And he was like, I really had a fun time tonight. I would love to take you out on a date, and I would also love to interview you because I have this project on YouTube that I'm doing where I'm interviewing people from different countries, and I would really love for you to be a part of that. So I was just like, okay, all right, cool, a date. That is basically how that night went. Although now that I'm a little older, I'm just like, I still kissed a stranger. I could see kissing the stranger the day after, but like the same night you meet them, maybe I should just stop being judgmental. So bet. The next morning I woke up, I had told my cousin and the people that I was with, I was like, I have a date and the guy's really nice. They were like, okay, good luck. Make sure you keep your phone on you. Make sure you stay in contact with us. Tell us where you're going. I forgot the name of the place that he had planned to take me, but it was a area where there's a whole bunch of very beautiful scenic Korean style buildings. I'm gonna put it here. I used to know the name of it, but I don't remember the name of it. He ended up taking me to go get some type of smoothie because I had already eaten. So He took me to a smoothie place and we walked around and we talked and we talked and we talked. Then we went back to the center of Hongdae and there was an area where we just sat on the grass and he was just like, okay, let me interview you. So he started recording and I was like, what's the point of being interviewed when you have people like busking and there's music playing everywhere? And he was just like, it doesn't matter. I want to save it for memories. He started asking me questions. He was just like, what do you think about South Korea so far? What are some things you like about it? What are some things you dislike about it? What are some things that you feel are better here compared to the US? And what are some things you feel are better in the US compared to here? We finished the interview and we got up and we went to go to karaoke. We're just walking and he's like, okay, we can go do some karaoke. We're walking and walking. We go to this area where a little ways from Hongdae, there's this old guy that stops him and like looks at me and is like, oh, and just makes the most incredulous expression. He made that sound and said something in Korean, and then he was holding my hand and he started laughing and he just like looked at me and looked at the old guy and said something in Korean. And I was like, what is going on? What are you saying? Like, what's happening? And he was just like, he said, you're such a beauty. And I was just like, oh. You know me, I was like, okay, a little validation from the ajushis, right? I feel like I was just so flattered because of the reaction that he had. I know people are like weird about compliments or weird towards people who like to accept compliments, but I really do like the idea of somebody giving compliments to something or somebody that they feel is beautiful, especially when it's somebody that's so different from them. So I was like smiling, and also I was surprised because I just didn't expect that reaction. Me being a Black woman in South Korea, I just didn't expect it. Not that I don't think that I am a beautiful person. I think that I'm super beautiful, but I didn't expect that reaction, especially from an ajushi. I thought the ajushis and ajumas were gonna be a little weird, but that didn't turn out to be my experience. So that really put me in a good mood and I was really happy. By the time we made it to karaoke, we were singing and he turned on John Legend. And if you guys know anything about karaoke, the karaoke thing is a trap, okay? And obviously at this point I didn't know, but I don't think I would have cared because back then I was not dating with the intention of being serious. And even now I don't really date with the intention of being serious just yet. Eventually I'll get there. I have some things I'd like to get more established in my life before I start looking for a serious partner. But the karaoke is where they try to make a move, okay? He started singing to me and I was just like, bro, what is this? And then he finally made his move. And when he made his move, I was just like, you know what? I've had like a really good day. Why not go for it? Why not mess around a little bit? So it was a great experience. While I wasn't and still am not somebody who was able to like sleep with a person after knowing them for a short period of time, I'm probably never gonna sleep with anybody while out of country unless I'm somewhere for like years. While I am a little bit, not even a little bit, super defensive about that, I will make out with somebody. Maybe no more making out in the club around a whole bunch of strangers, but I'll make out with somebody. I'll go on dates. I'll get a little physical, okay? It was fantastic. It was amazing. There was one point, I won't tell you guys too much because it's my Black business, but there was one point where it just transitioned from sweet to bold and he was just like, sit on my lap. I was like, I didn't expect this, I didn't expect this at all. I thought you were gonna stay in character, but you guys know how dudes are, especially Korean dudes. I feel like if you are interested in dating there, just know that their personalities can kind of switch. You know, obviously lay down your boundaries and you should be fine. That was my first time in South Korea and I had never been treated so sweetly by somebody who had no intention of seriously dating me. That is what I liked about that experience. It showed me that there is a possibility of being treated nicely, even if the person isn't intending to make you their serious partner. And I like that. I've made a video about this before, about this whole situation before. I did not know that I was somebody who liked being treated so sweetly. We were holding hands and walking around Hongdae and I was just like, what do you think people think about us holding hands? And he was like, well, people probably think it's a little odd because typically you don't see a lot of Asian men with black women, so they probably think it's odd, like it's some type of spectacle, because people were staring at us. And I was just under the impression that if you are intending to get in someone's pants, if you are intending to, you know, just sleep with somebody, treating them like a human being or even treating them sweetly is not something that is commonly done. But that is because that is my experience here. Well, that was my experience here, being treated very like coldly from people just because they wanted to just sleep with me. And my thing is like, even if you just want to sleep with a person, even if your objective is getting something from them, to just not treat them well never made any sense to me. I'm going to treat the people I like sweetly and nicely, even if I have no intention on marrying them and being with them long term. So having that experience made me realize that I could have those type of experiences. I just had to filter appropriately and find the people that were willing to do that type of thing. And by the time I came back to the US, when I started going on dates again, even though they were nowhere near as sweet, it's just a little different there. Even though they weren't the same type of date that I had there, it was still me being treated extremely well as if I was a girlfriend. I know that sounds really bad because it's like, why not just get a boyfriend then? I have no interest in a serious partner. But it was nice to be treated very well and very sweet. And I just remember being kissed on the forehead and him just rubbing my hands together and playing with my hand. It was just so cute and intimate. And I really enjoyed that. That is when I realized that this whole sweet, bubbly, gushy thing, I actually like it. I always thought I'm too old for this. Like, I remember he kissed me on the forehead. In my mind, I was like, why are you kissing me on the forehead? Like I'm some little girl. But then I was just like, have I ever been kissed on the forehead before by a man? Not really. Have I? Not even my ex. Wow. But that was my very first date in South Korea, and that was an overall positive experience for me. It made me really reflect on my needs. I want to be with somebody who treats me sweetly, regardless if you're dating me seriously or not. Somebody who's not afraid to hold hands, somebody who's not afraid to show affection and just communicate with me that you don't want anything serious. You don't have to be scared that I'm going to latch on to you if you do anything remotely intimate with me. And I don't just mean intimate sex, making out. I mean intimate, like holding hands. I can hold hands with somebody I'm not dating. I'm okay with that. I think nowadays situationships are more common, but back then, I don't know how to explain it. There was just a coldness about dating here in the US that I hated. And you could just tell when somebody was not willing to give anything at all, not willing to take care of you at all, but still wanted to sleep with you. And it's like, nah, man, I'm not going to be treated like less than a human, just some orifice to put something inside of, or just somebody's face to make out with, and you just push me off after, like, ugh. Anyways, I'm sorry. I just realized I spent so much time on this story, but that's because it was just very significant to me. Every date I've been on since has been me being treated very well. It's just nice. It's just nice. And it really showed me that I could have that. Even if I wasn't ready to seriously date, I can still have that sweetness. And if anybody does not treat you well, get rid of them, because you can find somebody to hook up with that treats you well. All right, everybody, that ends the first story, and I'm going to put on my glasses for this second story. The second story is about a guy named Marco, and this happened the second time I went to South Korea. This is actually 2022. Yeah, 2022. I always cheese when I talk about Marco because it was such a good, genuine experience. So me and my cousin's girlfriend, we're going to call her Raisa, we're out looking for clubs to go to. We're in Pt.1. We arrived there after like a day or two of recovering because our arriving was awful. We were stuck in the rain on the suitcase, rain on us. We came in separately because I missed one of the flights. We couldn't catch a cab. It was crazy. But we came in, we bounced back, we went out, we were ready to just hit the clubs. We were using our phone and using Google to tell us which places to go to. Mind you, this was after lockdown and stuff had loosened up. So we were on Google and finding out a lot of the clubs that we wanted to go to were either not open yet or were closed permanently. And sometimes the information wasn't even updated. So me and her walking around, I'm just like, hey, there's this electronic club that I really want to go to. We already went to the hip hop clubs. Can we please go to an electronic club? And there was one particular one I was looking up. I don't remember the name of it. We had crossed the street. There's a club called Pumpkin. We had crossed the street from Pumpkin, and we ended up in like this dark area where a lot of the buildings were closed off. People were walking like around the area, but we were going down the alley about to go into the area. We're looking at our phone, walking around, very obviously lost. And this guy comes up, he looks at us and he cocks his head, and then he leans over at our phone while we're looking at our phone, very confused, looking at her phone, very confused. And he just takes the phone and he starts looking at the details. He doesn't say anything at all. He just makes expressions. We can tell that he is saying that he can help us find the place. He starts leading us through this alley. Mind you, this alley is dark. There's not that many people. And of course, we should have been way more careful, but I think our intuition revealed to us that he was really genuinely trying to help. There was just something about his energy that was super positive, super helpful, almost like golden retriever energy. And even though he couldn't speak that much English, he was really, really trying to look at the buildings and figure out the address. So he had the phone in hand and he was looking at the buildings, inspecting all of them. And he finally came to a building and was just like, and it was a closed down building. In the background, I'm just like, oh, and Risa's just like, wow, it's closed. We look at each other, and I think there was like a silent recognizing that we had followed this man through a dark alley, and it was just him and us. What now? We're literally in this alley with this random dude. We're two foreign girls. So I think at that moment we started thinking about the possible dangers. For some reason, one of us had to use the bathroom around that time. I'm trying to recall the story properly. So he's just like, I can help, in his broken English. This man heard bathroom. He was like, I can take you to a bathroom. We started going in and out of alleys. When I tell you they were the darkest alleys, I was just like, girl, is it okay for us to be following him? This is the situation. We're following this dude yet again to another place. We going in and out of alleys. Where is he bringing us? I was looking at her and she was looking at me, and we were like, okay, trust the energy. Trust the energy. He takes us to a set of stairs and starts walking up the stairs. We're walking up the stairs and we're like, Marco, how much longer till we get to the bathroom? He turns around, and in the corner at the top of the stairs is this metal door that has a bathroom inside of it. You can see inside of it. And he's like, and we're like, thank you, Marco. Like, wow, thank you for not leading us somewhere to be murdered. We thought you were a serial killer for a second. We used the restroom and we were in the mirror. We were just like, oh my God, that is so crazy. I literally thought we were about to get murdered. I was like, yep, I genuinely thought my intuition had been wrong. But no, Marco turned out to be extremely helpful. We came out of the bathroom and we were like, oh my God, thank you so much, Marco. You're the best. Thank you so much for your help. He led us back downstairs outside the alley, and then he just went and then left. And he was on his way, right? The only conversation besides him leading us to where we needed to go in a little bit of broken English that I remember us having is trying to figure out his name. Because we were like, what is your name? And he said, Marco. And I was like, well, no, what's your Korean name? Is that your Korean name? And he showed us his Korean name. And it was so funny. Me and Risa were like, yeah, we just gonna call you Marco. And he started laughing. And he was just the most vibrant dude, vibrant, chill, walking alone, just chilling. He was dressed kind of nicely, like summery. I don't know how to explain it. And he had the regular black bowl cut. He was a pretty good looking dude, I would say. And he was just so helpful to us for nothing in return. Not being a creep should be the bare minimum. I get it. But this didn't even just happen one time. We got lost again. We came out the club, we're looking at our phone, and all of a sudden this guy comes up to us and we're just like, oh, Marco! And we're so excited to see him. He just looks at our phone and like looks at the address and just points to where we need to go. And then we're just like, oh my God, Marco, thank you so much. You're so helpful. And we're like patting his shoulder and just doting on him. And he's just smiling and he's like, and then he just leaves. For two girls navigating Pt.1 for the first time, because as I said before, the very first time I was in South Korea, I stayed in Hongdae. Navigating Itaewon was much easier in my opinion, but it was still a lot navigating which clubs were open, which food places were open, and to have a guy be super helpful to us in that way and so casual and comfortable with us, despite there being an obvious language barrier, we were just so happy and thankful. That wasn't even the last time I saw him, guys. I saw him a third time when Risa was at home sleeping. I wanted to do some night photography because I love to do night photography when I'm traveling overseas. So I packed my stuff up. I got my camera ready. I was walking towards the center of Pt.1 where the clubbing area is. And as I was walking past like this stone bridge area, there was this Korean dude walking on the same sidewalk, and he was in like a regular black t-shirt, and he was walking past me, and he was just like, he didn't say it's you, but he went, I saw his expression and I was like, who is this random Korean? Marco! And I was like, oh my God, Marco, it's so good to see you. What are you doing out? And he just said that he was exercising. There we go. And I gave him the biggest hug. I was like, it's so good to see you, Marco. I'll let Risa know that I saw you. What are you doing? What are you up to? How are things? How are you? He was just so happy to see me, and I was just so happy to see him. We talked for a little bit and then said our goodbyes, and he waved and continued walking. We'll always remember that man. He was so helpful. His energy was just so vibrant. And I remember asking him, I was like, do you have a place that you like to club? Like, is there an area you like to go to? And he said that he doesn't really like to club. He just likes to walk around and people watch and stuff like that. So I do wonder, I'm like, what do you do, Marco? Like, what? Where do I find more people like you that are just this good natured? Not that I know everything about Marco, but he was great, and he made a significant impression on us our first couple of nights in Itaewon. We were thinking about him. We were like, wow, that was a great dude. I think I also might have an affinity for people who are very expressive. Like, they use their body and hands to verbalize what they mean, whether they can communicate with their voice or not. It's just very endearing to me. And he was just so full of expression. And yeah, those are my two stories. I will be making another video about the rest of my super positive experiences in South Korea. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I think about South Korea all the time. I would love to spend a longer amount of time, like more than an actual month there, just as vacation. Like, I don't want to live there, but as vacation, it would be super nice. The pros always outweigh the cons. I would also like to go there kind of as myself. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more confident in myself, and especially the way I dress and my style. Previously, there would be no way you'd catch me looking like this in South Korea. I don't know how to explain it. Like, the weight of the beauty standard can be really crushing even for foreigners. It would be nice to go there again, dressed in a way where I feel I'm able to express myself. I would love to go to South Korea as my authentic self and see how that goes. Because the last time I went, I pushed the boundaries a little bit, and I ended up meeting like this artsy dude. I'm going to talk about him in the second video. Very eccentric guy. Those are the type of people I suspect that I will meet if I go to South Korea looking how I be looking. Okay. If you have made it past all the things that I've talked about, thank you. Please like the video. I will be making another positive video about South Korea soon. I'll also be putting out a negative video. Those things were something else. These videos are so nice and pleasant to make. I can just talk and draw off my memory bank. So yeah, my name is Savette. Thank you for watching.